Well, blessed Friday to you as we come to you with your daily encouragement. And we are continuing on the bottom of page 58 and a little bit into 59 today. We've been talking about the interruption of our hymn of praise, our songs that we sing. And some are mystery, some relate to human life. They are a tension between our heavenly songs and our earthly songs. Bonhoeffer writes, according to Ephesians 5:19, "Sing and make melody in your hearts to the Lord." The new song is sung from the heart, otherwise it cannot be sung at all. The heart sings because it is overflowing with Christ. That is why all singing in the church is a spiritual performance. Surrender into the word, incorporation into the community, great humility, much discipline. These are prerequisites of all singing together. Where the heart is not singing, there is no melody, and there is only the dreadful melody of human self-praise. Where the singing is not to the Lord, it is singing to honor the self, or the music, or the new song becomes a song of idols. And this is reflecting about what our focus needs to be. All coming together isn't necessarily spiritual. Sometimes it can be a performance, and some of the things that we may be wrestling with in our own culture is how much of our spiritual songs are trying to be a performance to inspire others. Now, maybe I'm not as concerned as I should be, but I used to be concerned about the spiritual, output of the services I did. Where I got knocked into a little bit of reality with that was when I lived in the Slovak Republic. I know it's another story about my cross-cultural experience, but let me tell you what I experienced. When I was there, I saw worship services that I thought, in my opinion, were the dullest things that I had ever experienced in my life. And part of it, which was kind of a learning curve for me, was to understand that God's Word is still doing a work whether I perceive it or not. God's Word is still doing a work whether I think it's exciting or dull or not. And the reason why I knew it was being effective and that I needed to change my paradigm was when I saw young and old being, quote-unquote, converted, having their lives changed. I saw one student who claimed that she was an atheist at the beginning of the year and had been converted to the Spirit of Jesus Christ. And she said, yeah, maybe some of the times I was teaching had inspired her to some extent, but she said what inspired her was the worship service at her local Lutheran church. Now, I tell you, going to a Lutheran church in Slovakia reminded me like going to a mosque on so many levels. Everything was the chanted music, very dull. And of course, for myself, it was in a language I didn't even understand, like what happens when we go to a worship service, whether it be at a synagogue and it's in Hebrew or at a mosque where it's in Arabic. It was something that was completely oblivious to my life. And yet, I saw people having their hearts, having their lives, and that's what we're talking about, having a song from the heart. I couldn't understand it. And that's when I realized, in fact, that was the deep, small voice that was speaking to me in prayer. Don't look at the outward appearance. Look at the change of the heart. And that's where I learned that not everything that inspires me are the things that will inspire others, and vice versa. Now, I'm not a person immune or hardened to criticism. If some other people come to our church and they say, some things could be done a little bit better, a little bit more inspirational, I appreciate those criticisms. And in fact, sometimes they can be my criticism sometimes. But I always want to warn people Just because it is not changing your heart doesn't necessarily mean that it's not changing others' hearts. Because the outward form of the worship, whether we have a hymn sing or a praise band, whether we're in a small group or we're in very large group, and I've seen the Spirit move in both cases, large and small, inspirational band or simple hymn sing. Now that I had more of my eyes open to things, I've realized that we need to be concerned that we're not imposing our own expectation on what God is doing. Because God can work through many different styles of worship, many different sizes of worship, many different types of worship. One of the things that I've struggled with when we've tried to do a contemporary service is style. I mean, once we have moved out of organ, hymn-based type of worship service, then it turns into what type of contemporary. And we find ourselves who like contemporary in different schools of thought. Some like it very rocking, others like it more sentimental or folksy. Some like country music, some don't. I mean, there's just all this variety that we start to turn into the church divided rather than the church united, because we're so preoccupied with the style. But on a greater level, we need to be focused on the heart. And sometimes that can happen with different styles of music, whether it's the one I like or not. And while, I do believe that God can use any style of music, even the traditional, I've gone to like the traditional, but I always have to remember that God works through the contemporary too. God works through all styles. What I have to be is to make sure that I am real to the style that met me, and yes, be open to the style that meets other people, and to focus on not the outward appearances. Because sometimes I can't control that. I can't control how many people are coming on a Sunday morning. Now, some might say, oh, yes, you can, Pastor. You just have to advertise better. No, it's not a marketing issue. Many times it's a heart issue. Where is my focus today? Is it on the style, or is it on the heart of the music, the heart of the message, whether it be traditional or contemporary? Sometimes I think that's a distraction, where we start to worry about the outward appearance rather than the inward confirmation. God bless you today. Let us sing a heart, whatever style it is, to the Lord, and let us sing it so that the Lord knows that our hearts have been changed. Take care. God bless. We'll see you on Monday.